Hey, I'm Josie, and today I'll talk about something I went through when I was about your age. As I was growing up, I started to think more and more about my body. I would then find myself standing in front of the mirror and asking myself questions like, am I pretty? Am I too fat? Am I ugly? I would see a larger girl in the mirror, which made me feel like I was too fat. I dreamed of one day seeing a thinner girl instead. So basically, I didn't know how I actually looked like. This is because I had something called body dysmorphia, which is a disorder you have when you obsess over your body defects that aren't really there. I would always think to myself, Josie, you need to diet, and that's when everything started. My diet got so extreme that I started to count my calories and refused to eat foods I once enjoyed. The consequences ended up hurting me more than I would have ever imagined. I started losing my beautiful hair. I had heart problems. I felt cold, tired, and weak. I had dry skin, bruises, and cracks. My joints always hurt, and so did my bones, and I just felt depressed and lonely. These are all commonly seen signs and symptoms of an eating disorder called anorexia nervosa. Anorexia nervosa is a mental illness leading to the obsession over your body weight. And specifically, it's when you can't maintain a healthy body weight for your age because of a fear of putting on weight. This disorder is very serious because it not only affects your digestive system, but also other parts of your body. I am far from being the only one, as this affects many other teens. In Canada, between 100,000 to 3 million people deal with anorexia. And although 90% of them are females, more and more males are starting to deal with anorexia in the hopes of getting the ideal body type. Anorexia is not only about losing weight. It could also lead to other health problems, but it could especially lead to many problems in your intestine and stomach area. There is a condition called gastroparesis, which is a common issue with anorexia. What happens is that your stomach remains full for longer because of a delay in getting emptied, and it causes you to feel bloated, full, and can even make you vomit. Another issue is constipation. When you decrease the calories you take, your intestine doesn't have to work as much and pushes things through more slowly. This means you don't have to do number 2 as much, but you do feel pain. Remember, there's no normal for doing number 2. It could range from 2 to 3 times per day or a week. Also, dysphagia is another issue. It means having trouble swallowing. What's actually happening? The pharynx, or the tube that food goes down through, doesn't get enough protein to feed its muscles, so it gets weaker. This makes it harder for you to swallow, and food particles can even find their way up in the lungs instead of your stomach, which causes an infection called pneumonia. So as you can see, anorexia is more than just about losing weight and trying to look like a movie star. It can really take a toll on your health and harm many of your normal body functions. Eating disorders actually have the highest mortality rate of all mental illnesses, with 10 to 20% eventually dying from complications. Anorexia nervosa does not only impact your physical health but also your psychosocial well-being. It can affect your relationships, your mood. It can pressure you to idealize perfection and lead to low self-esteem. It can lead to other mental health problems like depression, anxiety, obsessive-compulsive disorder, and personality disorder. In some cases, it can even lead to suicide. In fact, suicide comes second as the cause of death for anorexia nervosa, occurring up to 20%, whereas the general suicide rates ranges from 1 to 5.3%. There are a lot of misconceptions about anorexia. Many people told me that I was doing this to myself on purpose, that I wanted attention, or that I was obsessed over my appearance. I would compare myself to people on my favorite TV shows and magazines, which only made things worse. This is known as body comparison. The media fed into my obsession about my body image, and I wanted to be so thin that I was not happy with my appearance. For me, anorexia also really affected my social network. I started to feel ashamed of my body, and I started to avoid my friends and family. I felt like people did not understand me or take me seriously. There is a lot of stigma around eating disorders. A stigma is a produced or unfair idea about something that isn't actually true. The public constantly makes assumptions about this disorder, and oftentimes people think it's just a phase. I felt blamed for a problem I couldn't control. Even my family felt the effects of anorexia. I thought I was a burden to them and that they didn't want to deal with me, which is why I didn't ask for the help I truly needed. So what can you do? It's important to know that eating disorders are treatable. A key is having good support to guide and teach you helpful skills, but it definitely takes courage. Recovery starts with counseling and support. You can start seeing someone openly talk about what's been going on and how you feel about your body. A counselor can help you manage your stress, cope with this issue, and connect you with resources like a support group that understand what you're going through. You will also start seeing a nutritionist who can provide you with nutritional counseling and teach you eating strategies that can help you with your recovery goals. You can also start taking some medications that can help with mood problems. There are no specific pills for anorexia, but it's important to see a doctor regularly since it causes many health problems. Now, what can you do if it's for a loved one? The first step is to educate yourself because anorexia is often misunderstood. You may also want to avoid talking about food and weight because these topics can be a sensitive area for your loved ones. Don't comment on their weight or appearance, and instead try to assure them that they are not alone and that you care and want to help them. Don't take the role of a therapist and instead encourage them to get professional help. Professionals are better equipped to help your loved ones and give them the care they need. And remember, your loved ones may deny having a problem or they may react with anger. Try not to push the issue, and instead you can assure them that you'll always be there for them if they want to talk. It's important to be mindful of your own behaviors and attitudes in regards to food and body image. Don't forget that anorexia is a sign of a bigger problem, so try not to only think of it solely as eating problems. And finally, seeing someone you care about suffering is hard and burdensome. It's a heavy baggage for you too, and you may experience things like confusion, distress, and guilt. So if you ever feel like it's too much for you to handle, you can always get more help. Here are some helpful resources. You can call the National Eating Disorder Information Center to know more about how to handle anorexia and other eating disorders at 1-866-633-4220. You can also get free and confidential services by calling the helpline for anorexia and bulimia Quebec at 1-800-630-0907 or with the area code 514. My story is ending now, and I've realized that there is no shame to getting help. I sound confident now, but I don't think I'd be here talking about this with you without the counseling, support, and the love I got from my family and friends through this whole process. So remember, you are not alone. Love, Josie.